I think the next revolution in AI isn't about speed or scale. It's about the sensitivity. The companies that listen will last the one that shout. Understanding what and how to use the AI itself. Because right now there's a lot of noise. And it's not about the speed and the scale of it. It's about the sensitivity of how the company use AI itself. That's where it would change.
Welcome to AI on Fire, the podcast where idea sparks, code burns, and the future of AI takes shapes through the real stories from the builders behind it.
Every fire has three elements: heat, fuel, and oxygen. Control those and you control the flame. That's how we think about AI too. Not something to contain, but something to shape.
And today we're turning up the heat with Tram, founder and CEO of Insyghtful AI, a platform that claims to bring real-time emotional intelligence to sales team, guiding them mid-call, not after the fact. Welcome, Wu.
Thank you so much, gents. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Wu, you've built companies before, but Insightful isn't another dashboard. It's trying to feel, right? What moment pushed you to say, yeah, let's teach machines empathy?
I spent 2 decades in selling complex system at Oracle, selling ERP, AI, and the common failure wasn't the tech. It was in the conversation. And every deal died between what was said and what was felt. And I realized with AI and technologies coming out so quickly, whoever solves the gap that owns the future of communication, not sales, but communication itself, that's the real monopoly. And we were not chasing automation, and we're chasing the truth in real time. And that's what really sparked my interest from the beginning when I set my journey out with Insightful AI.
I would like to double click on emotional side, why you feel this is like actually unlock for sales.
Because every interaction, because right now, because there's so much noise, I think there's a huge factor into it. I'm old school. I'm truly an old school type of sales, credential sales style. And there's a lot of noise in the front end where people are reaching out with automation through emails, and sales rep just get the leads coming back in, and they sit back and they send out another email and doing a follow-up, and there's no responses. And when they get onto a call, their confirmation bias within themselves is trying to get to the next step. It's neither from a discovery call, getting their client to the next step of a demo. Now, in between there is a huge black box of communication and be able to understand your prospect point of view and how they answer the questions based on the question that you ask. Is the intent behind the questions that they ask you. And there's a lot of emotion going behind those words are being articulated. But because we as human, it's blindness to progression and to the next step. And we miss that opportunities to understand what is the true pain point of Alex, or what's the true pain point of OP here. And that's where the whole emotion and sales criteria is not about the tech stack, it's in the conversation itself. And a lot of time when people say AI is going to replace human work, I think that's lazy thinking. The real opportunity is replacing human blindness, like the blindness within the gaps of the awareness that costs company millions every day. Like, we don't need more automation. Like, we really don't need any more automation. We need more insight per second, meaning that's what Insightful builds. It's AI. It doesn't threaten the jobs, but it threatens the average worker, the people who just go through the process. Mediocre, like the mediocre of the people who actually just do the job just to do the job. That's how I envision it to happen.
That's really interesting. So the one thing that I really want to know, what's under the hood of Insightful AI, how it works. There's so many data that you're getting, right? So what kind of data do you analyze and what do you have behind?
So for us, the data and information, and for every you say like, no, I'm gonna take a step back for 1 second, right? The data and the truth data in everything that we do is right now is in communication. That is the truth, right? And the minute that data is not captured in a real time, and when a human tried to, like myself after the call, I have to touch the keyboard and have to type it in, that data is now tainted. And it's subjective to my ceiling now. It doesn't interpret what you say, what it's been doing so far. So what we do at Insightful is actually capture everything in the real data itself and train the AI to actually interpret the persona type.
Mhm.
The persona and informations, that interaction between each step of the way. It's like, because AI is still very logic driven. You can say that it's like large language model, but you're breaking it down. It's still very logic driven itself. Underneath it, there's a lot of work behind it to surface those information. And that's what the team at Insightful AI is doing really well as, to be able to understand we have enough data, enough resources to interpret a particular industry or vertical within the conversation that say, hey, when Alex asked this question, this is what it really means. And this is the emotion behind it. And that's a lot of time when we talk about like training AI and what's underneath the hood is, we take the truth of the conversations and surface that information, not taking information that was already typed in and built in and trained the AI.
Hmm.
That is a lot of, I would say, input, output of garbage.
Do you use Insightful right now during our conversation?
No, I did not use Insightful right now during our conversation.
We should try it, right?
To read
I
the
should
room,
well, it's not, I should have her on the background to interpret you guys' conversation and the question you guys are asking, and
Yeah,
seeing what the sarcastic come out of it, and see what the intent of the questions that's been asked right now, and I
yeah.
can use that actually to train and help you guys on a podcast.
Yeah, that's great. OP, sorry, I have one follow-up question on this. So you mentioned, you said it would analyze what Alex said, right? The question is, do you somehow map this to the particular users or user types, or like do you store it in personal data or classify or clarify it somehow?
So we tag this based on persona based upon the industry of that persona. And so, which mean that we categorize the conversation, we capture this information, we train it based on, and that's like, for example, you go in, right? We have a clean slate of database, meaning that we don't ingest, old data, old conversation. We want to capture what is real and how particularly like, you, Alex, would answer a particular question. How OP would answer particular questions if you guys are both founders and CEO of a company, and is a particular say, hey, you have a certain way to articulate the answer because you've been through the challenges of fundraising, challenges of communicating with clients. You see what they want, you understand what they want. All those information, the process to go through, those are lost in space. Meaning that if you're not there in that conversation, you cannot replicate that information back to your team to have the same type of mindset. So we match it up with the way how you answer the question based on a persona, based on the industry, based on the vertical that you go into. Then we train the AI from there. It's not in particular, hey, here's out of the box. Yes, we do have out of the box industry knowledge and industry information based on my experience and based on the team of expertise in terms of going into, hey, if a CTO asks this questions and if a manager asks this question and if a CFO asks this question, what did he or she really means behind it? So we use those database right there is depending on your answer. Then we train the AI as eventually the more you use it, the more it can capture information and the more it loop back with better answer from original. So basically, it's imagine this avatar of yours is a clean avatar and you train this for real, meaning from the beginning it's level up each time. So for example, you capture this information, you have this whole entire conversation and this intent questions that the um, conversation wasn't captured properly within the intent and within how to answer. The AI going to capture that information. They're going to train itself every 10 days. It's going to loop it back. Say every 10 days, we're going to go back to all the conversations. Say, hey, what is missing in this data? How do we loop it back? How do we train it back? And what does this really mean? And where's the gap missing? And fill that in to the database. And the next time it will surface back up again with the new conversation basically is in the same intent of the questions asking. It's a lot had to do with linguistic at the same time of different people, how different people ask the questions.
Every founder had a moment when the product or like AI agent Insightful from your end like did something that you didn't expect.
But that's always that the holy grail that you're hoping that you build a product that you don't expect. You expect the unexpected. But that's something that we need to have more user and more feedback to truly understand the expect unexpected, what is like, holy crap, this actually can drive. And we've seen glimpse of it. We see glimpse of it within Insightful in terms of one of the example I can tell you is how people are actually doing their forecasting.
Mm-hmm.
In a deal forecasting, because usually people do a deal forecasting is based on a deal itself. So they go in, they flash up a dashboard and they look at all the criteria, and this deal is good, bad, and the manager would actually take into a sense, okay, I'm going to forecast this deal. The rep forecast, say, for example, forecast deal is 80% coming in Q4. The manager is skeptical and say, yeah, you know what I mean? Based on information, it's based on, in the CRM system, I'm going to put this at 60%. So you're like, wait a minute, I'm forecasting as a rep at a 80%, but you as a manager forecast this as a 60%. So what is the language that the manager is speaking and the language of a sales rep are truly speaking that's a misaligned on that huge variance of a 20%? And at Insightful, it bridged that gap. It bridged that gap because everything is so authentic. And every conversation is not subjective to what the rep's feeling is. So the forecasting become a little more accurate and a little more trustworthy because of the number one, the playbook that is in place within a company. We can surface that live and image that in each step, each process that you go through it and validate that this is the truth. And before you can move to the next step without the reps moving to the next step by themselves or typing information. And that's become something that is been like, holy crap. It's actually working the way that it intended and a lot more. But what really surprising is how the marketing team are looking at Insightful because of the emotional factor. Because they're looking at the emotional factor that they can now be better articulate the content and to the emotions of their buyers. A lot of time on the marketing side, it's a blanket. They make an assumption of how that persona or that vertical really truly feel. They're not really fully understood how a person feel with the product because we have this emotional factor to capture live information and a forecast and accuracy. It's been a mind blowing on the marketing side. So that's been something that out of the left field for us that we wouldn't anticipate it because we built this on the communications for managers and for sales rep. But now we have the marketing team coming in and give us a little feedback. I'm like, oh wow! I was like, this is interesting. It's kind of connecting a dot in a way that we're not aware of, but that's where it is.
Interesting. But do you ever worry you're building, something too close to human coaching? The reps might start depending on it like emotional trainee wheel or something like that.
Well, do I worry about that? So the answer is
That's the goal, yeah?
well, like I don't worry about that because I think that every one of us, we are professional. We are professional. We all need more coaching. Like individually, every single one of us I ask my team for feedback every time. My team asks me for feedback every time. I ask my advisor for feedback every time. And even along the way, I believe that that's where it should be, is to have that live intelligent coaching at your side. My ultimate goal and my ultimate dream of Insightful, and I'm a huge superhero. I love Iron Man. And I love Iron Man is because of his money and his brain cell, right? Ultimately, is Iron Man, like Tony Stark is nothing without his suit. Now, imagine if I can have Insightful in every single one and reminded each sales rep the blind spot of interpreting what's coming in the left. He's coming in hot. He's not too happy about the pricing. He's not too happy about the product. He's not too happy about how you explain this thing. How helpful would that be to a team or to the individual? That's the ultimate goal, is if you can have this thing in a live conversation in context to help people. That's where it should be. That's what AI should do to human, not surface after information that's already there and give you a summarization.
Mhm.
That's boring.
Okay, yeah, you're moving to the next level.
That's nothing fun about it. It's like, go summarization. Okay, good job. Tell me something that I don't already know about it. It's already happened. In fact, it's like for example, it's football season, right? It's funny because it's football season, and every week there's 16 games on TV. But after the fact, you have like 500 analysts analyzing the game and telling you what is wrong during the game. But I can assure you, some of them are expert. Yes, I agree. Some of the experts, some of them did play the game. So some of those information are valuable. But others, you don't know how fast the game is moving. And you don't know, you're not on a field. And so it's so hard for you to criticize someone afterward. Like for me, it's like, hey, let's bridge the gap between the team, bridge the gap between sales managers, bridge the gap between sales leader, within the sales rep, within the sales organization, within the marketing team. Everything happened in a conversation to bridge that gap together and actually execute it in a asynchronous way that people can hear your drum beat, and every conversation you have, every pitch is sound the same and not different. That's where it is. That's where it should be in terms of coaching. I believe that everyone need a coach, like from A to Z. That's not like any salespeople say, "Oh, are you being a big brother or monitoring us in this call?" You are a professional. You are a professional in sales. You shouldn't have to worry about that, because the fact is, these are the things that help you. These are the things that humans say, "Oh, I can read this." And yes, you can. Yes, you can, because you have a little experience. But there's also blind spot, and this is what AI can do for you, and this is what Insightful can help you with.
Right, let's go with another one. Maybe you've seen some of the your clients freak out at some point when agent calls them disengage or with a low energy, or maybe you had someone who was actually mad on your agent. Can you walk us through any kind of such situations?
So we don't have a situation that I'm aware of, any feedback currently right now, where our agent gives false interpretation. And that's because don't train, we don't totally train on old data. We capture everything and train on the current informations and trying to have it articulated in a way of a live conversation. So we don't have, luckily we don't have an example where an agent would tell us right now an emotion that you are angry, but why you're happy. Because everything we do is through the conversation. It's authentic. It's not for up for interpretation. It's we have the AI to actually interpret this information, have the AI, the language already trained on this, like, hey, the tone, the usage, the words. It's not on past historical. There's past historical information we use, but everything is using words and transcription coming up to this information that we trained the AI. So luckily, we don't have that scenario where an agent give us the wrong intent not the wrong intent, the wrong emotion
But
as of right now. So luckily,
okay, so
like
I will double click on this one, like wrong emotion. Do we actually have any kind of wrong emotions, or all emotions are actually natural?
so that's a great that is a great question. Do we have wrong emotion? The answer is, how do you interpret that emotion? We as human, the only time, like, the humans are really good at interpreting, like, we're talking about like CIA, FBI level type of emotion detecting and stuff like that, right? You have to have a baseline of conversation to be able to be well enough to articulate the emotion of this person, right? And but what AI does really well is we're not capturing the facial expression. We're capturing your words. Your words is your emotion. That is more accurate than capturing your facial expression and your body language, because you have to have that baseline. But since you have your tone and the way you say it during a call, the variance of that going wrong is very low, versus where you're trying to interpret someone's emotion during a live call or during a data call. Data calls is extremely hard. And you're talking about the processing power, be able to capture this information data. I can't afford to build that, not at this time yet. But eventually it's going to be very interesting though. Those are like high level stuff. And those take a lot of information and a lot of data to build, to carry out at a very actionable pace. Because what we do is live. And what we do is in the moment and not after the fact. So we need to have the latency at a under seconds. If anything that's going to delay, you're talking about 3 seconds or 5 seconds on a call. That is an eternity. If you ever look at it, the
It's
screen,
already redundant.
yeah, exactly. You're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah,
So that's the point for us. So we have to act everything in a rapid
I
pace. So
can go like from mad to happy, in a second.
yeah, but again, it's hard to capture someone's going from mad to happy in a second also too. That's that person's faking it out. But then that person's faking it out. Then human can't really capture that emotion in real time
Yeah.
either too. So that's where we have the support of this agent, this AI can articulate and capture those. But basically everything we do is through the tone and it's through our words, not through the facial expression of the emotion of the person.
And follow-up question, speaking about the emotion recognition, have you ever thought about expanding the functionality to actually recognize the lie or use it as a lie detector based on the tone?
So we have a lot in our roadmap of the emotion and detecting lie and all the stuff like that, but we don't have enough concrete data to tell what is the truth. So the roadmap for us right now is infinity, because we can do so much right now within our platform and the way how the team architect this information. We could take this like 80-degree differently of what you want to do and how you want to do it. So any ideas that anybody, your team have, or anyone listening to this podcast, please send me an email, because all these are going to go into our backlog and we're going to prioritize, see which one is important based on our feedback from our clients. Because ultimately, say you have to prioritize and say what's important, what's not important. And when you say, hey, how do you interpret the lie? Say, okay, what do you mean by interpret this lie? How do you want this to translate into actionable? That's okay. I can detect that you're lying. What do you want me to do? You want me to call you out on it, or you want me to be?
No, I want my agent to call it, right? Hey, you're lying, he's lying, blah, blah, liar.
That's right.
Right.
That, that is very easy to train, because you can
Like
put a lot of bad data in AI.
busted, like
Busted. Yeah, exactly. Don't try this person, liar.
Liar. It's like your name is a liar. He's just going at it's a liar.
And there is a LinkedIn badge on it.
And you change the name, or the base.
That would be awesome.
That'd be really funny, because afterwards you're gonna go back and you're gonna train your AI data. I wonder how that's gonna look like. Because we capture everything, in real time and in our transcription. It can be really interesting to see it happen, though. Yes, so there's a lot of there's a lot of things we can do, and I think the future with AI is that emotional aspect of it. And we've been hard working at this for the last few years. And we're at the point where we can actually put the platform in the right situation, in the right place that we can say, hey, we're comfortable with that this actually can help and support in the real call. And that's where our current status is right now.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. It's time for the fire drill. Ding, 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 ding. Quick questions. 10 questions. Quick answers. 10 answers. Are you ready?
Ready as I can be, I guess.
All right. Let's go.
So everyone says AI can't feel. What's the moment that made you think maybe it actually can?
So feeling isn't a point, right? Awareness is. AI already perceives faster than we do. So, so like feeling isn't a point, it's the awareness of it. I think that's where AI can help.
How do you feel, right? So do you feel it can feel or not? All right. So if your AI coach could give you one piece of emotional advice before a big pitch, what would it whisper?
Empathy. Empathy is in kindness. So empathy.
What's more dangerous, a tone-deaf salesperson or an overconfident AI agent?
I believe if it's driven conversation, I think it's a tone deaf.
Two of them working together, right? All right. In 10 years, will emotional intelligence still be a human skill, or will it be just another API or MCP?
It will be a human skill with.
So if empathy could be measured like a metric, should companies start tracking it?
Absolutely. If you drive conversation in empathy, 100%. If you're looking at back on all the sales conversation, every conversation we have with people, that's the baseline. If you understand that aspect of it, that's where it's coming from. We should track that from the beginning. That's what we do at Insightful. Is that empathy? As in the intent is the question behind the question, right? It's not the surface of the question you're asking.
All right. So, what's the weirdest thing Insightful ever picked up from a conversation?
That's a lot of weird things we pick up in conversation because some people leave the mic on and the conversation people get carrying out, but let's not right as this podcast. We can take that one offline.
All right.
All right, so you're in a sales room, like sales war room, and one side gets world-class human coaches, and the other side gets insightful agent. Who win and why?
Didn't I would say someone who have an AI to support that agent in a real time would win the battle. As much as you can say with the human, but with the AI, it will speed up the process 100% of the time. With the human, that's where a lot of people misunderstood the usage of AI. Is you have to have it as your sidekick. It's like Batman to Robin. That's where the power is going to be. Is you need that.
Yeah. So speaking about Batman and Robin, right? So we need an AI who would save the world, like as a Batman. But what do you think? How many people actually would love to have this, right? So how many people would want AI to read their emotions, or maybe they don't because they're scared?
So when we build something that is new and we think it would play around with the emotion and get scared, I believe that everyone would want it to have it, but because of the unknown, everyone is scared from it. Because of the unknown factor, that's where the challenge comes to play. Everyone would want it. If I told you right now, for example, say the top tech superstar coming into play and say, hey, I'm going to give you this to actually support you, you will want it right away. If you know this thing, because it's so new, so much noise going on with AI and because of hallucinations and everything. How do I trust AI? Well, we at Insyghtful AI, we don't take any data that are not an actual data, meaning your conversation, to train on it. And that's what the difference is, because we train on a live conversation. We don't train it after the fact of typing in and gather information from the web or gather information from the information. It's like people sending us, say, hey, can you take this and train the AI to help our agent to get better? The first question they ask is, where's this data come from? Is this from Salesforce? Do you extract this from Salesforce? They were like, no, we can't use that information and say, oh no, this is from a voice conversation. This is a true conversation that's come out. then yes, we would take that information and we can train the AI because we want to keep everything authentic and train this data on a live process.
All right.
right.
Next one will be very right to the point. So if emotion is data, as we just discussed, who owns it?
Who owns it? Who owns the data?
Yeah, if emotion is a data, who owns it?
Who is
It
the
would be
owner of the emotion?
to be the owner of the emotion that own the data.
Is it like a sales rep, manager, or AI, or somebody else?
Or a person who actually expressed this emotion?
Yeah, I'm not sure anymore, you know?
I mean, I think that's the hardest, that is the hardest part, right? The ownership of it, of that emotion. And that's up to interpretation of who owns what. It depends on your definition of ownership. Because emotion is subjective to the moment or the day that you are waking up to. So I don't think there's a real ownership. But if it's your emotion, then it's your data. But if you want to have someone to remind you, reflect on your emotion, then it's both the AI and you to have co-ownership of this information, this data.
Exactly. You're sharing the data and someone is consuming it, right? So it's a
So, but,
like shared data now, right?
but data privacy, it's also a key to us at the same time is to make sure that everything we train, every data is based on a company, based on information data. It's not on the individuals. That's why we do everything based on persona. We're not doing this based on a economic level of to every people in the human society. We do this on the vertical, we do this in the personas. Our data is captured on the emotions of the persona. So it's like you wear a mask on. This is your persona because you're at this company XYZ. It's not because your personal data or your personal emotion that we capture. We capturing the emotion of this person that work at this company based on his role, based on his responsibility. It's what he want out of it. So that's what we do.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'll ask, I think, the final question for our fire drill. Speaking about personas, so I think there is a persona for founders, right? So founders are special people who found the startups. What do you think the most common emotional blind spot for the founders?
Delusional.
All right. Every founder is a delusional. All right. That's interesting.
You know what I mean? If you're not delusional, you don't believe in it. It's a tough business. It's a tough steps. And as I mentioned earlier, if someone tell you every step of the way and you see it and you can feel it, that emotional factor, you won't do it. You will not do it because it's painful. It's very painful. Every moment, every night, every ups and down, every card you receive, every Slack message is an emotion attached to it. If you wake up in the morning and you look at your Slack message and there's something is wrong, your whole day is gone. Your whole morning is ruined. But then if you wake up and you get a good message and everything's excited, it's just that ups emotion. So it's crazy. It's crazy. If you understand the process, you would not do it. If someone, for example, you want to go somewhere and so you get 10 friends to go to the same location and tell you every aspect of it, you would know every single thing about that location. But have you been there? Have you experienced it yourself? It's a different experience. You would know it right away. They tell you the beach, the beautiful, the food, the culture, and everything about it. And you're already there. You act like you know it, everything. You would never take a step. But if you're going to take the step and actually do it, experience it yourself, that's a whole different emotion. And you will feel every aspect of it. And that's why I say it's a different beast. We don't know, I don't have a compass to tell me what I'm doing is right or wrong. That's the hardest part in this journey. I can relay the message, I can relay the information, I try to ask for help, but I don't know it. I really don't. If I
You
do,
never know unless you try, right? So that's how it works, right? So try, figure it out, fail fast, or build more, right? So that's all about the startups and everything else. But
and it's
that's
like,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's a great saying. In order to be successful, what do you need to do? You have to get experience, right? Then how do you get experience? You have to fail.
exactly.
So that's the bottom line. But yeah, so yeah. It's
Awesome. Learn on your own mistakes or on someone else's mistakes. But yeah, let's get to our final section, the forecast. So 1 year from now, what's the one thing about AI that most people will be totally wrong about?
I think the next revolution in AI isn't about speed or scale. It's about the sensitivity. The companies that listen will last the one that shout. Understanding what and how to use the AI itself. Because right now there's a lot of noise. And it's not about the speed and the scale of it. It's about the sensitivity of how the company use AI itself. That's where it would change.
All right. Yeah, that's an interesting forecast. I think now it's time to set the fire down. Any final thoughts before we close the flames?
The future is the unknown. AI is here to help with human. I think embrace it and learn from it and use it and build something that actually help human along the way. And that's what we're trying to do, is to understand emotion and interpret it so we can have a better conversation from the other person's point of view, not jamming a product down their throat because we're selling a product. Is it worth it?
Yeah, well said, well said. Amazing. I believe that's it for this week AI on Fire. Thank you so much, Wu, for jumping into the flame with us.
Thank you, Jens. Appreciate it. Anytime. Have a
Thanks,
great weekend.
Wu. And everyone, I hope that you experience some good or bad emotions. That's probably how you will try to use the Insightful AI, right? Remember, hype spreads fast, but only the real fire keeps burning. See you next time.
Cheers.